What is going on, Diesel Nation? We're excited to have you guys with us today on the Diesel Podcast. Today's episode is really cool. There's a gentleman who follows us on Instagram, listens on YouTube. His name's Mike, and he's from France. And I had started following his Instagram page and checking out all these really cool Cummins trucks that he has. And there's low mileage ones, there's manual trucks, there's common rails, second gens, lots of other vehicles. And I wanted to know, how did he become a Cummins enthusiast? And then how does he find these trucks in Europe? Usually when we think of diesel performance, we think of the US or Canada, but I really wanted to highlight that there are diesel fans in Europe. There are people who are incredibly passionate about them. There are people who love to restore, fix, do performance upgrades. So he's going to join us, tell us how he got into them, some of his favorite trucks that he's had, his thoughts on diesel performance, and how he gets the parts, which is, it's really cool how he gets parts to maintain and upgrade the truck. So it's going to be a fun podcast. Before we get to it, I want to encourage everyone out there right now, go to our Discord. You're going to find a link in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, or if you go to our Instagram page, click the link in our bio, you can join. And Discord is a way that you can engage with us and other podcast fans for free. And we wanted to have a platform where our hardcore fans, people who listen every week, are doing upgrades on their trucks, who have listened to us and our guests for a really long time, are passionate about the show. We wanted a place we could all get together and chat. So I'm always on there chatting with people. There's a lot of cool builds that are being posted up. I just saw one the other day with a silver 12 valve, and I'm really excited to hear what's been done to the truck. Looks like it's had a complete paint job. There's some engine work going on. We have great discussions about emissions on performance, pre-2007 trucks, recipes for builds. Right now, we're doing a poll where I want to hear from you guys. If we have a company on to talk about a 650 horsepower build, something to tow with, something to daily drive, but also if you want to take to an event or a dyno day or something like that, you can have some fun with. And I want to know, do you want to hear it about a Cummins Duramax or Power Stroke? That's something you can join. You can influence the show. You can influence what we're talking about, who we're talking with, and getting the information that you want. Like I said, go right now. Just click the link down below if you're watching on YouTube, or go to Instagram, search Diesel Podcast, click the link in our bio, you'll find it. The other thing we've done recently is we've started a Patreon. And Patreon is a way for fans of podcasts or lots of different things to be able to directly support and directly interact with a show or with someone. And of all the diesel specific podcasts and shows that may be out there, we're the only independent one. And it's how we started. And we started very humbly and just wanted to do something different. But what that's allowed us to do is have guests, have topics on, be able to talk about things that don't pertain to our day jobs, which if you're going to do a podcast as your day job because a media group tells you need to cover this topic, or your boss says, hey, we got to sell some of these parts, talk about it for 45 minutes or an hour or 2 hours, whatever it is, it directly affects the content. And yes, we talk about parts. Yes, we talk about builds. We talk about competition, but there's a lot of things we cover that you don't hear anywhere else because we're not trying to sell you a part. And quite frankly, those topics aren't going to sell a part. And that's really what I get really passionate about, is learning, what do these guys do for business? How did they get started? How do they handle growth? How do they overcome, personal issues and, health issues, business issues, industry issues, and still continue to build trucks, maintain them, service them, do all the great things that they do? What about your favorite racer? What inspired him? How hard is it for him to be able to balance racing with his family, with his job, and be able to go out there, weekend after weekend after weekend, pushing the envelope with his truck? And so Patreon's a way that you can support us. You also get access to things no one else gets, whether they're on Instagram, Facebook, anywhere else. You can have your truck part of the cover, our podcast cover. So each month we're going to rotate that out with someone who's a Patreon. If you want to be a co-producer for the podcast, you can do that as well. And then early access to videos. I know for me, if I really am into a show, really into something, I don't want to wait. I want to hear it as soon as I can. I like that. And so that's a benefit or a perk that you get as a Patreon. If you want to join, just go to the link in our bio on Instagram or our link on YouTube in the description. You can join right up. It's cheap. It's as low as $3 a month. And, from there it goes on up depending on things you may or may not want. So we want to thank those people who have joined already. You guys are firing us up, inspiring us, helping us keep doing what we're doing as an independent podcast covering diesel. All right, let's get to today's podcast with Mike and chatting about Cummins performance and enthusiasts in Europe. Mike, welcome to the Diesel Podcast. I'm really excited to be able to chat with you today. And first, I appreciate your support that you've given us on YouTube and social media and the feedback, on episodes. And I remember one day I was on Instagram and I clicked on your page and I saw that you have, these really cool diesel trucks and you have a YouTube channel and these different things. And I saw you lived in France, and it really got me interested because there's people all over the world that are interested in whether it's a Cummins, Duramax, or Power Stroke. And I thought this would really be interesting to chat with you, learn about your passion for diesel, and how it grew into a hobby and a business for you. So I appreciate your time chatting with me today, and look forward to our podcast.
Hello, Patrick, and thanks for having me on the podcast. And yes, I start really early with trucks and cars because my dad, he always had cars and trucks, and so I grew up in there. And a friend of mine, his dad, he had a scrapyard, scrapyard, and I worked for him when I was young, a little kid. I started working there, and I really enjoyed cars. So in the end, I managed to do like a little company on my own, and we buying trucks all over in Europe. Diesel trucks. I specialize now on Cummins, more or less. And I do this with my girlfriend.
There's a ton of questions that I have, because I think, with 3/4 or 1 ton trucks, when I was first looking at your page, I thought, well, how do the trucks get there? And then, are people who are into diesels in Europe, do they look towards these trucks? Do they really want them? So, if say somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, I've got this 3/4 1 ton Cummins, are you interested in it? Is it something where there's a lot of trucks there that you can pick from, or is it every couple months you might come across one?
A couple of years ago, you could really pick from. You can look on websites, and there was like 20-30 trucks here, Cummins, especially diesel, for sale. Also Ford, but I was more into Cummins. And now it's getting harder to find them. It's getting harder to find clean ones, especially really clean ones, because they rust. Yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah.
Depends where in Europe. And so I'm still watching, like every day we got like websites where we're looking for. But I got many people who know me all over in Europe, and they call me, like the black dually, what you just saw.
Yeah.
There was a guy, he called me and he said, listen, I got a dually for sale. Might be something for you, this or not. And I said, send me some details, some pictures. He sent me the pictures over. And 3 days later, we went there, we picked them up and came back with it. Yeah. So, but it's definitely getting harder to find nice and clean trucks. It is, it really is.
Is there
everywhere.
Is there a certain year range of them that is say easier to find? Like, would you see a 2017 or a 2018 there, or would it be more like a 2007 or 2006 or something like that?
There are like 4 gens out there, but they are more like 2nd gens and 3rd gens, because it's getting harder and harder to get the registration for those trucks. So there are less people to import them actually now, because it's getting really hard to get a registration, to get them over the tests. And so that's why you have more 2nd, 3rd gens. But they're still, like in Germany, there must be about a couple hundreds 4 gens for sure. Yeah, I had 2 4 gens. I had a 3500 mega cab dually and the 2500. It was both really nice trucks. I like them. They drive really nice. There's nothing complain to it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But the registration is getting even harder, because they have a different, pollution category, because they're newer trucks. The emissions, they have to have Euro 6, what is almost impossible.
Okay.
So this is a big problem. And for me, it is easier to keep to keep doing business with the second and third gens and first gens. But first gens, they're getting really rare, really, really rare. It's just easier for everything, for the tests, and because you don't need that much stuff to do on them, to get them over the test.
Yeah, it's
easier to handle.
It's kind of like here, before, there are always emission standards of some sort, but once we get into like that 2008 range and current, they're just totally different than a 1993 Dodge or a 94 or something like that. And I think, it was one of the main questions that I had was, here we think of Europe being much more diesel friendly, or it's more common than it has been in the US. And I wondered, is when there's this big truck going down the road, or this dually, this 3500 dually, is it something where people stop and look and they're like, well, I don't see that every day? Or is it just like almost a common occurrence because it's just it's a diesel, it's more accepted, it's been used longer, in France or in Europe than here?
So if you drive like with the big dually or any Dodge around here, they're looking after you. That's for sure. Yeah, it's not something really common. You see like sometimes you see like a F-150, Ford F-150, or like a Dodge, like a Hemi. You see a lot of Jeeps, Jeep Cherokee, stuff like that. But big pickups, really, you don't really see them often. Yeah, so the people's definitely looking after you, and some are happy and some they're not so happy. They think, oh my God, do we really need that? Yeah, so it depends. Yeah, but mostly the people say they like it. Yeah, they're taking pictures. When you're staying somewhere on the red light, they're taking pictures of you. They film you, and so they like it. Yeah.
Now with your business, how does what do you specialize in, or when? What's the are you finding the trucks and then assessing them, seeing what they may or may not need, and then reselling them?
Yes, so I buy them. Sometimes I buy them even damaged, with a broken axle, broken transmission, or engine damaged. Yeah, I buy everything, also parts if I can. So, but mostly I go over from bumper to bumper. I check the brakes, I check the ball joints. Yeah, I do. On 90% on the third and second gens, I did the ball joints. Yeah, that's something you always have to do. So I do the ball joints. I do all the oil services on them. I changed everything. What have to be changed? Yeah, we're doing the interior. We clean the interior. We take everything in parts. So we take the whole interior off every time and clean everything out. So exhaust wise, some people say if they want a different exhaust, I can do, like, I change the exhaust on them. Some want a straight pipe, but it's not always some want a straight pipe, so I put a straight pipe on. But it depends on the client, what they want. If they tell me they want like bigger wheels, I put bigger wheels on. And but most the trucks what I sell, I do them like how we like them, like wheels and tires. I do like a little tune, reprogram, maybe a turbo, like on my third gen, what I have, the silver one. I don't know if you saw them.
Yeah.
It's this one. It's really clean. It's the cleanest I ever had. Yeah, third gen. I found them with 19,000 miles. It was an older person who had this truck. He never drove them, and now I think she has about 25,000 and something miles, so it's still like brand new almost.
Oh yeah, it's almost new.
It is a really nice truck, especially it's a 6-speed manual with the G56, what is even more rare to find.
Yeah.
So I really like the manual transmissions, and so this truck, it's a really cool truck. Yeah, the people like them, and at the moment, I don't know if I'm gonna sell them or not, because I'm sure I won't find another one like this. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it'll be tough to find something with that low mileage on it.
Yes, exactly.
Even here, that's really tough to find, and I would definitely hold on to that one if you can. That sounds like one sounds like a keeper. Now, when you're going through the trucks, and they need parts, maybe they need a new stock turbo, or maybe there's something upgraded that someone may want on it, how hard is it to get the parts to you?
So I import every part from the US, everything. If I need a turbo, everything I import from US. And it is quite easy because the shipping service is really good from the US. I can get the parts if I want to, if I have to, in 48 hours. But it is much more expensive than the price what you're paying over there. That's for sure. Yeah, I have to pay the import taxes, the shipping, and in some cases the shipping and import tax is well over the amount of the price for the part.
Yeah.
Exactly what the part cost me. So this is the only bad point. Yeah, but it is how it is, and it is possible to do it, and it's worth it. So and I try to keep going like this as long as I can. Yeah, I really like to do it like this.
I mean, be able to get parts in 48 hours if you expedited it. I didn't think it would be that quick to be able to get things, but that's almost like being here. It's usually like 2 to 4 days,
Yeah,
2 to 4 days
yeah,
when you order something.
yeah. It is. I was so surprised the first time when I ordered it, and I thought, yeah, so it would take like 1 or 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and it showed up in 48 hours. I was so surprised. Yeah, it is. If I take like normal standard shipping, it's still here. I never waited longer than 7 days. Yeah. That was the maximum of time. So this is really, really, really good. Yeah. So you can't compare this even with Europe. When I buy something from Germany, it takes me sometimes like 4 or 5 days, and sometimes it is even the wrong part. Yeah. So France is the same. It is crazy. Yeah, it is crazy. So that's why I don't even think about. I just order them straight away from US, and it works really good like this. I had no issues at all.
And with we were chatting a little bit before about a first gen, and
Yes.
I had seen one on your page, and you were telling me about a whole restoration you did on it, and I wanted to ask you, how did when you got it, did you have to do a lot of body work and just like take the cab and the bed off and just start at the frame, or what was the process like for restoring an older truck like that?
Yes. So this was the first version what I ever bought in my life, and my friends, everybody told me, don't buy it, don't buy it, because it was in such a bad shape. The body was all damaged, really all over it. It had dents in doors and bonnets and fenders. The bed was destroyed. The bed is the only part what I didn't restore because it was so bad I couldn't do anything with it anymore. So in the end, I took everything in parts. It was a frame off restoration. The chassis was quite good. I sandblasted the chassis, the axles, I repaint everything. Then I went to the engine, the transmission. I went all over, yeah, take everything in parts, changing the bad parts on it, new seals, yeah, new gaskets everywhere, bearings, stuff like that. Then I went right to the body. So I took the body, I took the whole paint off from the underneath, from the floor, everything, and I repainted everything, used some good epoxy primer. It took me well over 1,000 hours, yeah, on the end to have this truck done. It was a lot of work, but I enjoyed this time, and also I learned a lot. If you
Yeah.
do restorations like this, and I do them on my own, I have nobody else. I do everything on my own with my girlfriend. She's helping me, so you learn a lot. And those trucks, they are also really easy. Yeah? It's like a Jeep actually. There's not much to it. Yeah, you take the cab off. There's not much electronic. It is simple and easy. Yeah, so you can do it quite easy.
Those are some of my favorite builds to watch, whether it's on Instagram or on YouTube, is I love seeing frame off restorations. I think because it's the idea of taking an older truck and making it new with paint
Yes,
and seals and parts and
yes,
brakes and even the carpet inside and just all these
exactly.
different things. It's so cool to watch those, and they're some of my favorites to to pay really close attention to. And first gens, like you mentioned, they're just, well, those and second gens are just so simple compared to the new ones where, and even being a Cummins, it's a lot simpler to work on than a Power Stroke or Duramax with just ease of getting to things and just, it's a simple layout that I imagine that the market for that is so large, for people that are looking to buy one and are looking for things. And I wanted to ask you that part is, do you ever get somebody who's like, hey, I want an LBZ Duramax, I want a a 7.3 Power Stroke, or is it really focused in people want a 5.9, whether it's a second gen or third gen truck?
Yeah, people's around here who are actually also looking for Fords, Chevys also. There are quite a lot of Chevys around here. I used to have a lot of Chevys before, I bought trucks from the US Army in Germany and ex-military trucks, like the Blazers, K5s, and K30s with the 6.2 liter diesel engine. So there are quite a lot around those trucks, and people are looking for those as well. Yeah, especially now. The things with the Power Stroke and Duramaxes, there's a market here as well for those, but not as much than the Cummins, because the reputation of the Cummins, it really is worldwide. Yeah, you can get parts, engine parts, you can get them everywhere. That's easy, even here. If you need, like, I don't know, stock pistons or bearings or water pumps, I can get them everywhere here. That's not a problem. Yeah, and people like to work on them, but there are not many people who are gonna touch Power Strokes or Duramaxes because they don't know them. Actually, there are not many people here in Europe who I know who do work on those, yeah, who can fix them and wants to fix them, because if you open the bonnet on a Power Stroke, I mean, there's a lot of stuff underneath, yeah, compared to Cummins.
Yeah, yeah,
It really is.
it's really fascinating too how different each brand is. And when somebody new is looking to get into diesel, they're interested. You probably get people that contact you that have never had a diesel pickup truck, and they're thinking, well, which one do I want, or which one would be easier to service over time while they own it. That probably plays a huge role. I know it does here as well. Like if I'm going to work on something myself, I'm not incredibly mechanically inclined, but I can do stuff on a 5.9 or even a
Yes,
6.7 versus I did have a Duramax at one time, and I just popped the hood and I looked inside of it, and I'm like, this is totally different. There's all this stuff in the way versus
it is.
on the 6.7 or the 5.9s that I've had. So I know we all want something that we can work on, find parts, especially for the investment. I'm sure these aren't inexpensive when people are buying them or looking to get one. Just like here, a third gen 5.9 is, if it's clean, it's in that 35,000, sometimes closer to $40,000 range. So I want to
Yeah,
make sure we can maintain it.
yeah. Here it's the same actually. You pay for a clean third gen, you pay almost the same price now. Yeah. For second gen as well, it's exactly the same. And it depends. You got people who have some Power Strokes and Duramax, and if they're clean, if they have the registration, they're quite expensive as well here. These are trucks who the people are looking for. Yeah, many people don't even know the difference between a Duramax or a Power Stroke. They don't care actually. There are many people who just say, "Listen, I want a pickup, American pickup. I want a big diesel engine." And so yeah, my part is I don't have many Fords, so they are rarer for sure
Yeah.
here, and that's why I stick to the Cummins. But if there was more Fords or more like Duramaxes, I would buy them as well. Yeah, if somebody offered me one for a good price, I would take them straight away. There's absolutely no doubt. Yeah.
There's another question that I had for you, which over the last couple of years, we've started to see some of the diesel engines get into like the F-150s and the Duramax 1500 and the Eco Diesel that's in the Ram 1500. And then all of a sudden, there seems to be this major push to get us to go electric. And I just saw
Yeah.
Ford released the F-150 Lightning, or they were talking about it, and the Hummer that's all electric. In Europe, is it kind of like that as well, where there seems to be a push to get away from not just gas, but diesel, and move towards this electric
Yeah,
truck or car?
definitely. They push you. Maybe they push us here in Europe even harder than you in the US, because like there are some cities in Germany or in France where you can't even drive with the diesel. Yeah, you're not allowed to go with the diesel into some cities. You have to stay
Okay.
out. So they definitely push us. They like the parking plots. They make them smaller and smaller. They put like barriers on the parking plots to make sure that you don't drive in with a van or with a bigger truck. So this is they push us. They want to have us all. I think more and more electric cars. They want to push us to electric cars. That's for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You can feel it. You can feel it. But there's still a lot of people who say, "Listen, it's still my life. I can choose what I want, and I still drive my diesel. I keep driving my diesel, yeah, or my old I don't know. All the cars is the same. Even petrol cars, some cars, if they don't have like the catalyst converter, it's the same. You have really big issues to get a registration first, to insure it, and yeah. So this is it's a major problem. Yeah, it really is, and it's a shame. I think they should invest maybe more in technology
Yeah.
to make the cars like cleaner. It is possible. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think the technology that has come out for diesels, I know on one hand here, one of the main things is, people, they resist it. And definitely resisted it at first, because you go from this 0759 where if you wanted to put an exhaust on it, you could, and it would have that sound that people want. And then you go to a 2007.567, and now you can't do
Yeah.
that, so it's quiet. And
Exactly.
some of the issues that those early trucks had that really don't exist anymore. And there's been a lot of guests I've had on the podcast that have talked about the power, the reliability, all the things that Ford, GM, and Ram are putting into their 3/4 1-ton trucks. They're much more reliable, and I think that's a lot of the least resistance that I feel to some of these electric things. Is I think, well, diesel's been around for over 100 years. It's been used all over the
Yes.
world. It's still used all over the world. It's going to be used. And then you see this truck come along and it has a range of 250 miles or 300 miles, and then we start to think about, what about towing? What if you're going to tow a trailer? You're going to tow something heavy. What does that do to it? And I agree with you. I wish we would just invest more into making them more efficient than
Exactly.
they were
That's the
20 or
word. Yeah.
30 years ago, and
Yes.
do it, because it's a great form of power and reliability. And I think that's another reason people buy diesels, is you want something that's going to last. And especially, if we're talking about Cummins trucks, maybe somebody wants to put 500,000 miles on it, a million miles, 700,000
Yes.
miles on it, and still have it. And I'm just not convinced there's other powertrains that allow for that kind of longevity.
Yeah. That's true. That's what is coming here now, and the E85 ethanol.
Yeah.
So this is really common here now. So there are many vehicles now who run on those on this um, petrol, I can say, yeah, on the E85. So also the thing is, you're paying less taxes if you have like an electric car. This is another point, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
taxes. So if you have electric car, you pay almost no taxes. On the E85 cars, you pay much less tax than on the diesel. Yeah? On the diesel, it's quite expensive at the moment. But I think all these are things they just push us. Yeah, they want to push us to just to just change and come to come to the electric, to newer stuff. And I'm not agreed with that, because I still think the diesel it's important. like all the trucks, and there's so many things who run on diesel, and I don't think it will run good as well on electric. There's no point. Yeah, there will be no way. I don't think that will work.
I think it's also really important, and a reminder to us that no matter where we live in the world, and if we're diesel enthusiasts, diesel owners, or we have a business in it, that it's so important for us to be united, to network, to help with education and to talk about it, because it's not just in the U.S. or just in Europe or just in Canada where they're almost trying to be phased out in favor of something new that isn't quite proven, or we don't have the infrastructure to support yet. So that's what was really cool, and one of the main things when I looked at your Instagram page is to see, hey, we're tied together by our love for diesel trucks. And I've said on the podcast before, like my favorite one are Cummins engines. So then I saw you have some really nice ones, and that's what's so cool about doing a podcast, is being able to chat with people all over the world that we all have the same passion. We're all excited about it. And one of the things that I really enjoyed is your YouTube channel. And so I wanted to ask you, for a diesel enthusiast in Europe or here or Canada or wherever it may be, if they want to see what you're doing with these trucks, how you're taking them from something that needs a lot of work or maybe a little bit of work, and being able to offer something really clean and really nice, how do they find your YouTube channel?
Well, so my YouTube channel is Mike's Trucks on YouTube, and on Instagram it is Mike's Trucks 83. So these are my two names, and yeah, they can have a look. They're welcome. Yeah, they're very welcome to have a look.
Yeah.
And yeah, also if they have questions, I have many people actually who send me like questions. They have problems with their trucks or where to get parts from Germany. I got many people from Germany who are asking me, and so I'm really happy to help and to answer all these questions. Yeah, so makes me happy also because it's nice to help people out, and the thing is, it makes the world so small. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
This is the nice thing. The world is really small because we all like the same stuff.
Yeah.
And wherever you are, yeah, in the world, and this is really nice. Yeah, this is something what is really nice, and I don't think we don't have the same with electric. Yeah, I don't think so.
That's a really good point, and something that like today we're chatting. We're 8 hours apart. We live in different areas, but we could talk for hours about 5.9 common rails, or about 4th gens, or about 2nd gens, and all the different things for them. And that's one of the things that it really excites me about talking about diesels, how passionate people are, no matter what part they're in, whether they're racing, whether they're restoring, whether they're building, whether they just love driving it. It's so cool to be able to chat, with you guys, and I always like to see, sometimes I'll go on and look at like YouTube and see where people listen from, and sometimes I forget, and I don't know. I'll see people are listening in Australia, or they're listening in Europe, or they're listening in Asia, they're listening in South America, and it's so cool to think that our passions tie us all together no matter where we live. So that was one of the things, in chatting with you before the podcast and checking out your YouTube and your page, I really appreciated was your passion for these trucks and what you do to them. So I appreciate
Thank you very much.
Your time today chatting with us. Keep us updated on trucks. Tag us in some stuff. I love seeing what you're working on, and
definitely I will. That's for sure. It's so interesting. I really like your podcast. Also, you learn a lot, and it's really enjoyable. Yeah, and it helps out people. It helps me out, and it's just interesting, yeah, to listen to, and that's nice. Yeah, that's a really nice thing, and I enjoyed it.
Awesome, Mike. Well, like I said, I appreciate your time today. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep making these trucks
Thank you very much.
Look and run well, and look forward to seeing what you work on in the future.
Thanks, and I will show you this, and I keep you updated. And thanks again, and sorry for my bad English, but I'm gonna learn with the time. I'm gonna be better. And thank you very much again to having me on the podcast.
Don't forget, Diesel fans, make sure and click the link in our bio. If you're watching on YouTube, you can join our Discord, which is absolutely free to join. A lot of great conversations. I want to see more people on there. We're almost at 100 people already, which has exceeded my expectations, and we're really excited whenever we see somebody join. I get to check out their truck, so head on over there and join. And if you'd like to support the podcast, be more engaged with it, drive the episodes, the guests, the topics that we're talking about, get exposure for your truck, join our Patreon. You'll find that in the link below on YouTube, or if you go to Instagram, just go to the link in our bio. It brings up everything. It brings up Discord, Patreon, YouTube, Spotify, places you can listen. And we're really excited. We got a ton of cool shows coming out for you guys. Been stacking them up and just reaching out to tons of different parts of diesel. And it's going to be a fun summer, and I can't wait to bring these episodes to you guys. I also want to give a special shout out to one of our Patreons, Wrights Diesel Services. We appreciate the support. Look forward to getting more of you guys on our list and be able to incorporate you into the podcast. Until next time, keep the shiny side up.